As a city itself, we don't create jobs. That isn't our job. However, we can do things to facilitate it and get people to invest in our city. So right now, we are going after the agro business, the transportation business as a hub, and also the technology business. So we've put additional funding in to go ahead out and expand those businesses, which obviously creates jobs. If we keep taxes low, get rid of more additional red tape, it's going to create jobs in a peripheral manner.
The city's role in economic development and job creation is encouraging economic diversification and incentivizing small businesses and other industries to come here.
So I'd like to see us diversify the economy as a top priority. That focus will let us thrive in the future, in the longer term especially. The city can do a lot in that respect. We can make sure that we're sourcing locally. The city itself is a huge economic actor. It spends a lot of our dollars. It has to do a lot of purchasing. There's no reason not to look local as well and make sure that we are spending to benefit all Calgarians. We can reduce red tape as well. And we do put money into supporting local business. We can also make sure that's going in the right places where we expect it to.
I think we have a city filled with so much potential in terms of the great ideas that have built this city. And we have to allow those great ideas that create business to flourish in our city. Now, one of the jobs of council needs to be to allow those small businesses to really take root. And we can do that by cutting the red tape and the crippling taxes that are stopping those businesses from taking root in our city. Now, on the other hand, City Council also has to ensure that we attract big business here, like Amazon, that can create thousands of jobs in this city. Now, what we have to do is ensure that this is a city that attracts people to create where they want to build their business and where they want to build their future lives here.
I would balance taxes with services by tackling our density and our growth problems. So right now we're growing out too far and we need to go up, not out, in order to achieve a proper balance between services and taxes.
So having spoken to hundreds of people at the doors in Ward 1, this is one of the biggest issues to them. So they're really telling me that they want to make sure that we are careful with our budget and that we are prioritizing the most important things first. We're putting those in, and then we're putting in the nice to haves after that. Within our existing budget, we also have some opportunities to find efficiencies, and especially in the way that we incentivize within government and city staff. Often we're incentivized to have larger staffing or larger budgets. I'd like to shift that, just a small shift, to make sure that we incentivize providing good service and finding efficiencies, cost savings, or adding services within the same budget, things like that.
Unfortunately, we have a city council that has chosen to focus more on their pet projects and their latest whims rather than the necessities and the day-to-day that Calgarians want them to focus on. Now, as a councillor, I'm dedicated to ensuring that we refocus the priorities of the city on what needs to be taken care of, and those necessities are dealt with in a prompt and coherent manner. By empowering Calgarians, we can refocus what those priorities are, and then move on to other projects that add value to the lives of Calgarians.
That is going to be extremely difficult for 2018. We have $170 million shortfall, as we know, but we actually have more than that because we have a one-time of $45 million, so that's $205 million. So one of the things that I've discussed for the last 2 years is we need to get back to the businesses of best services possible at value. There's a lot of services we're in as a city that we could contract out at a much better price and better selection for and choices for our citizens.
Well, I think it's a huge mess, and it never should have gotten into this situation. I think what really, the one-third was a fairly fair deal. Now, what I think this issue is really about is we have a city council that's very hard to work with. Now, this has been seen through how they have dealt with the negotiations between the Flames, with Uber, with the Contemporary Art Gallery that was supposed to go in where the old planetarium is. All of these negotiations have fallen apart, even in how they deal with each other. And now I think That's why it's really important we need to bring some decency and decorum back into City Hall and allow people to work with City Hall.
So my focus will always be on the most important things for Calgary, and that will remain economic diversification for our city. But I am always in favor of taking a moderate and careful approach when we look at issues. Especially this one. Ward 1 has overwhelmingly told me that what they expect from their councillor is a careful respect for their dollars and good spending. That's the purpose of the councillor, and the purpose of public funds is to make sure it benefits the public. So with the arena specifically, what we want to make sure we do is see a defined benefit in return for the public and the city before we commit. And I do think that the offer that was made was quite reasonable, and I really hope, because I do love the Flames and want to see them staying here, that we can productively come to the table.
I'm disappointed it's out in the public. That's why one of the parties walked away. There's a bigger picture here. There's a convention center moving over. We're doing trade shows. It's an event center. We can do much more negotiations, and I'd be shocked after this election both parties don't go back to the table.
I've always believed that taxpayer dollars require public benefit, and I have yet to see a proposal from either side that satisfies my threshold for that. So I am against the arena.
In Ward 1, of course, we have 10 communities. However, the common is traffic and safety. Been working on that for 3 years. I've gone to every single school and worked with the principals and the police on drop-offs, pickups, made a lot of changes. Still a lot of work to do. It doesn't stop there. Unfortunately, it's the people within their own communities, and it's tough. We can't have a police at every corner, and it'll be challenging on some of the solutions. I'm hoping with the city charter, it will give us some freedoms to make some changes.
I really think the biggest issue in our ward and really throughout the city is a failure of a council that doesn't want to have dialogues with people. They don't want to listen to anyone. Right now, people are feeling ignored and they are being left in the dark about issues that are coming up in our area. Now, as the councillor, I'm dedicated to making sure that we have those open dialogues, because there's often multiple facets to any issue that are not being considered. And that's what we can get through ensuring that we're listening to Calgarians.
So talking to people at the doors in my ward, a big issue that I've identified is safe streets and accessible neighborhoods. So what I would do to tackle that issue is I would talk to the experts, and I would determine how we can slow down vehicles in high density areas.
So consistently, what the people of Ward 1 are telling me at the doors is that they want us to make sure that they spend their money, we spend their money at City Hall carefully and responsibly. And they're also telling me that they don't feel they have a say in that. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're doing good public engagement that canvasses a broad sector of the population. That way we're not subject to vocal special interests. And doing that can make sure that not only do they have a say in how those dollars are spent at City Hall, but we can communicate better, we can listen, but also respond to their concerns and let them know what's going on in their areas so they can plan around it.